Yes. So I just got here to Sydney. I'm going to spend the next 3 days speaking at schools again, going around giving concerts and preaching about Jesus. What I want to talk as I'm with you over the next few days is about baptism, the symbols of baptism in particular. You see, in the Catholic Church we use a lot of symbols, and the reason is because we cannot express God, who is inexpressible, inexplicable. So the way we can somehow approach the greatness of God is through symbol. All sacraments, all the churches have symbols. In fact, if you walk into a Catholic church, you'll see lots and lots of symbols. So I'm going to talk about 5 particular symbols of baptism and some other small symbols that you will see during a baptism ceremony. To head to a dinner organized by the Australian Bishops' Conference. I feel so special. Well, the 5 symbols of baptism are the cross, water, oil, then there's the white garment, and then there's one more which I forgot. Awkward. Just remembered, it's light. Taking a bit of time off here in beautiful Sydney Harbour Bridge, Opera House, chilling, having a coffee. The first two symbols is that of the cross, the tracing the sign of the cross. Now, what happens during baptism is that we trace the sign of the cross on the forehead of the child, the adult, and that is because we recognize that it is the cross that is going to save these people, that's going to save the children of God. The second thing is water. We pour water over the heads of the children of adults. And this is a command from Jesus, those who are baptized with water. Jesus himself was baptized with water. Water has the power to cleanse, it has the power to renew, to refresh. And so this is why it is a beautiful symbol. It washes away our sin, and even in a child, it washes away original sin. Now, just a word about original sin. A child does not sin, but a child is also affected by the sins of past generations. So, for example, if I rent a home and I have children and I decide to destroy that home, I'm going to be kicked out of that home by the landlord. And because of that, my children as well are going to be without a home. So, this is what baptism does. It brings these children back into the home, into the house of God. They're welcome, they're saved, they're cleansed by the holy water. The water that refreshes, the water that renews, the water that restores and brings us back to life again. The third symbol is the white garment. Do you ever wonder why a child or even an adult during baptism wears white? Why do we wear white at weddings? Do brides wear white at weddings? Well, white signifies purity. And this is what they are clothed with. When a child is baptized, or when an adult is baptized, they're clothed with purity. They're clothed with Jesus Christ, who is purity personified. So once they're cleansed in the water, washed, reborn in the water, they're new again, brand new, newborn baby. No sins, nothing that can stain them or stand in the way of their relationship with God. And so this white garment is a reminder of that, a symbol of the purity that Christ gives us. Another symbol is that of light. When we have a baptism, kids and adults are handed a candle. And that is a representation of faith which enlightens us. Christ, the light, who has called us not only to be enlightened with his love, but also to be a light into the world. You see, this is what our vocation is. Baptism isn't just about being born again, but with it comes a responsibility, not only to be enlightened ourselves, but to bring this light to the world. In the sacrament of baptism, we also use oil. Oil is very important in preserving. Oil is used and has been used since the Old Testament. The prophets, the kings in the Old Testament in the Bible used to be anointed with oil. Oil is a symbol of the Holy Spirit and the gifts which the Holy Spirit gives us. So in baptism we are anointed with oil on our chest so that our hearts will beat with the hearts of Jesus for the rest of our lives, and on the crown of our heads, which is a sweet smelling oil, a reminder that we are called to be a fragrance, to bring our gifts to the world. Christ anoints us during baptism and gives us the power to be gifted in order to carry out our duty, to be this light in the world. We then have minor symbols that are not so much part of the sacrament, but are necessary for the sacrament. Let's take godparents, for example. They're there to support the parents in bringing these children up according to the love of God. So their responsibility is to pray for these young people. Being a godparent is not something just is ornamental at a baptism, but they have a responsibility to pray for the child, to bring up the child, to point this child, even through their childhood and adulthood, to Jesus.